Hello, this is going to be a quick guide on how to do the 98 one pull in Slave Pens. Now, what's really cool about this one pull is it's really good for leveling yourself as well as boosting other players. The minimum level that you're going to want to be if you want to do this one pull is level 66. It's going to be a little difficult just because you don't resist as many spells and it can be quite dangerous, but as long as you get the rhythm and just like knowing when to cast your spells, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. That said, let's go really quick over gear requirements because if you can do it at such a low level, you shouldn't expect to need very good gear. So what I did with this character was I boosted it at 58 and then I used my main mage to boost it up to about 63, and it's just been doing slave pens ever since. Currently, they're all level 63 and like 58 auction house greens of like Sorcerer, Eagle, Owl. I have absolutely no blues or epics equipped outside of the Blade of Eternal Darkness, which we'll cover later. Honestly, I would probably shoot for around 300 mana if you're going for this, just in case you don't want to like spam mana pots or mana gems on cooldown just to get to the kill ledge. About 300 is a nice sweet spot where you just maintain your mana without issue. So I would probably swap out a few more of my sorcerer pieces, but luckily my other character's a paladin, so it lets me cheat and get a little more MP5, so I don't have to do that. I would highly recommend getting an int and spirit stick of the owl, just any green, that's really good. Just increases your MP5 so much, and it lets you just get through the instance, and then once you get to the kill phase, you can go ahead and equip Blade of Eternal Darkness and an offhand in Spirit. Maybe even Spell Power would be really good because this item is incredibly broken. So if you're not aware, this is an item off Princess in the classic dungeon Mardon, and it was buffed in phase 6 of classic, and it's still buffed now to have a 2% drop rate, so it's not too difficult to farm, but it can be a little annoying. The reason why it's so good is that you are going to be casting Flame Strike on 98 mobs, and every single hit of that Flame Strike has a chance to give you 100 mana back. So on average, you're getting probably about 700 to 1300 mana back per Flame Strike cast, and then we're going to double dip that with the new talent build that we've been running, Master of Elements. So with 98 mobs, and even with our very low crit chance of 6%, and you can talent for extra Flame Strike crit chance, so it's pretty much we're at 100% chance to crit at least one mob. There is a chance it doesn't, but every Flame Strike will crit at least one mob, and all Flame Strike needs is to crit one mob, and you get 30% of the base mana cost back, and the base mana cost of max rank is about 1140. So you get about 350 mana back every time you cast Flame Strike just off Master of Elements, and then you get about 700, 1300 back with Blade of Eternal Darkness, and so you are net mana gain for most of the times. You have to do cast 1 rank 1 Blizzard just to bounce the mobs properly, but you're basically not losing mana, and sometimes you're gaining mana just pumping damage into the mobs. So I've left the Fire Tree open just for a little bit. Just the caveats here, just because I'm level 66, I've put 2 points in Molten Shields, and I'm starting to get playing with fire just so I clear a little bit faster. If you are lower level, do not get these points yet. Only get 18 points in for Master of Elements, and then go into your Frost Tree and make sure that you max out Arctic Winds. And Arctic Winds is not really there for the damage, it's for the survivability. The extra 5% chance to not get hit when you're running through mobs is ridiculously huge. It saves you mana, it saves you a chance to be dazed. It's just a really good talent. So I would make sure that you get your 36 points into Frost before you start trying to get playing with fire. So this is the top half of the Frost Tree, because I've really briefly went over it. It's very standard. These 2 points in Frostbolt can be put wherever you want. Do not get Frostbite and do not get Impact. It separates your mobs and it makes your kill a lot harder to do. But the standard stuff: hit, permafrost, improved blizzard, mana, range. Cold Snap and Icy Veins are great. Reduce damage on fire because a lot of stuff casts Immolate. Reduce cooldown on your barrier, and Arctic Winds. So that covers basically the talents and the gear setup that you really need to do. Now, if you are boosting other players, this is where they stand, AFK at the beginning. This is a really good boost. So if you're level 70 and you're boosting like 2 characters that are level 60 through 63, they'll get about 80k experience per run. It's ridiculously crazy. If you're solo boosting like between level 60 and 65, they get like 90k experience per run. It's also completely ridiculous. And so, before we start the pull, excuse me, we'll just go quickly over the consume list. You do need Swiftness Potions. It's kind of a requirement for unlocking the experience, of the mobs in the second half. And in case you're not aware, Blizzard did a hotfix fairly late in the beta that made it so any mobs after the first boss menu, the Betrayer, do not give you any experience. There's a way to work around that. Basically, you drop combat, and before they return to their original spots, you re-aggro them with proxy aggro, and then after that point, their experience is unlocked for the rest of that pull. So you do need swiftness potions. Bandages are highly recommended just because you'll be taking a lot of hits straight randomly, and then you have plenty of time to bandage in certain spots. Health and mana potions, really, really good just to make sure you get through the pull. Once you get to the kill ledge, you really don't need mana pots unless you want to try to make the kill faster. And then frozen runes, if you are struggling, can be a big help because sometimes things don't go quite perfectly while you're kiting, and it can really help you not lose your berry and stuff when immolates get casted on you. I'm just going to go ahead and buff myself with int. I'm not going to buff myself with dampen just yet, just because of how long it takes for the pull to happen, and since I have a paladin in the group, I'll make sure I get buffed with wisdom. It's really good if you are boosting people just to ask for some spot buffs. You have a priest, like ask for spirit, ask for fort. Paladins, wisdom is really good. Kings is also really good if you have multiple paladins that you're boosting. Gift of the Wild is fantastic. And we're just going to skip these first 6 Bogstrocks, which is probably the first thing that you're like, wow, why are we skipping those? So we're pulling all the mobs on the second half of the instance, and then we're bringing them back to the first half of the instance to kill. Just because there's no way to bring the mobs from the first half to the second half reliably due to menu being in the way and everything going across as a reset spot. But if you bring from the second half of the instance to the first, everything follows you if you jump into the water. So that's why we're doing it this way. Unfortunately, there's no way to come back and reliably grab these mobs because you'll have a train of about 50 mobs, probably about 60 mobs once you get into this tunnel, chasing you through the tunnel. You can aggro them and grab the mobs, no problem, but there's like 20 casters in that giant group, and you can't reliably turn them without dying. Even with a swiftness potion, they just, too many like arcade missiles, immolates, lightning bolts get casted at once, and you basically die. So we're just going to go ahead and run through here, not really worrying about grouping anything up. We're just running to the ledge right here in order to cross over to the other side. If you're lower level, don't worry. You can make this no problem. Just keep Barrier and Mana Shield up and Frost Nova those defenders. And we'll go ahead and jump here and cross. And this is a reset spot, so if anything ever goes bad and you need to panic and maybe reset, and you don't want to die and do that terrible, terrible run back, jump onto this ledge. Everything will be great. Also, there's a reset spot on the other side, so there's plenty of reset spots in Slave Pens. So what I like to do here in order to set up the slow fall jump is I'm half on, half off, make sure I'm lined up evenly, and then I will jump and then immediately tap S. And this puts me enough distance away to not get clipped by this crazy invisible wall that Blizzard put around this pillar. I angle myself kind of facing that Bogstrock over there in the distance, but slightly to the left. Pop slow fall, I'll tap S a little bit back because I was kind of off, and I'll jump forward, turn, and then blink. And that was a little late on my blink, but you have such a long period of time to clip onto the ledge that it should be no problem at all. You probably might fall a few times, but it's a really easy jump if you use slow fall. It is technically possible without slow fall, but I do not recommend it at all. So now we're just going to wait for the boss to go back into his room before proceeding. And just as a caveat, if you are lower level at 61, you can skip these Bogstrocks with no issues. Just make sure you're fully on the right hand side here. And if you are low level, just make sure this Bogstrocks facing to the left, because if you blink, he's going to see you, and then you blink past him. He did turn there. I'm higher enough level not to go past there. If you do pull the Bogstrocks, don't panic. Just run over here and jump up there. It's a reset spot, just like how you used to cross. And then just remember, when you are doing this, abuse line of sight so you can sneak past mobs and not pull them, because their aggro range for the raise especially are quite high. So just go ahead and walk like this, walk over. Now, just a quick explanation while these defenders are padding away, because I don't want them to be in a weird spot when I do the pull, is if you are level 61 and you want to do a 1 pull, you can pull 80 mobs with no problem. You'll get to this spot that I am now. You'll you'll rank 1 Blizzard there, rank 1 Blizzard there, and then walk along LOS, not pull this pack. Right around here, you'll pop up, rank 1 Blizzard, and then blink across, and then continue on with the pull as normal. So just remember to start, you Blizzard, and then the rest of the pull is exactly the same as I'm going to be doing. But since I'm higher level, I can pull 18 more mobs, and 18 more mobs is more experience for myself, and more experience for my boosties, and if you're level 70, just infinitely more experience for your boosties. Now there is a pat in this tunnel that you have to really be worried about. And if you are high enough level to be doing this part, you can stand here and the pats will walk by here. If you are standing here and the pats are like over here and you've skipped them by going up on this ledge here, so you can really skip them by like following along this cracks. If you're standing here and they're going towards the left, the way that they run into each other on this corner, it can pull. So I would only go to this spot specifically when they're finally at the end and starting to go right. And then just make sure I don't run myself into these bog strokes. And we will proceed on. So over here, just make sure, I think you're high enough level, but this defender kind of pats around. Make sure the defenders turn to the right before you try crossing there. Sometimes he can aggro. And we're going to talk to the NPC Naturalist Bite. And what this does, it spawns 3 more mobs for us. We sacrifice his life for more experience. It kind of sucks for him, but it's his fault for getting caught, I guess. So the box strokes are kind of in a good spot. So I'm just going to pull these box strokes. I'm going to pull these box strokes. And I'm just going to wait long enough to the mobs reset after killing Bite, counterspell, and then go on with my pull. So depending on when you enter the room and how long you waited for pats and stuff, these pats can be coming back up. At this point of time, since they're at this position, I would go on the left here. And then you can walk along this ledge and you are not in aggro range. Or you are. If that happens, just blink. Don't panic. Don't panic. You have enough distance. Go to this spot here. Go ahead and get yourself a nice Frost Nova. Walk down here. Pop up. Get a Blizzard. I'm going to counterspell that. I accidentally pulled that with my body because I wasn't an LOS. It's fine. You're going to blink. And then you can go ahead and pull. I don't have enough time to pull those. That's unfortunate. Me walking in a line of sight there was quite bad, honestly, to say. But it's okay. We're just going to move on with a pull. We can either grab them later or just forget about them. It's no big deal. I promised you a 98 pull, and so far we're only on a 94. Oops. I'll grab them again. It's no big deal. So here we're just grouping them up. And then going into this room. This room is rather dangerous. It's probably the most dangerous room. I usually blink past these because I'm high enough level. If not, if they're like right here, I like to do a cone of cold on them so they're slowed and then blink past them. And we're going to go up, run through these guys, give them a nice little Frost Nova. That's why we get Arctic Winds. Those misses are great. And we're not trying to really group them up. We don't want to stand here very long. We just want everything to basically get on the ramp, and we're immediately just going to jump block. We're immune all the way down, and then immediately once we hit the ground, we're going to blink. Now you might be thinking, oh my goodness, why are you wasting your ice block? There's a lot of casters, as I've explained previously, and while you're jumping down, even if you blink immediately, you can be lightning bolted, arcane missiled, and die. So now you go ahead and jump over to this ledge spot here. It's very hard when you're not a gnome. Other races have explained it to me that they can do it. While I'm explaining, let me go ahead and just pull these because I'm going to be here for a bit just to explain. I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to jump up here and just let these things go. So this, and I'm just going to bounce the mobs just so I have enough time because I have those little bog strokes behind me that are kind of scary. So give me 1 second here. And we're just going to Blizzard here. And you probably just, it's going to be awkward because I pull these block shocks so late, but we'll just bounce them. Oop, I walked too close. So just so that while I'm here, before I explain the jump, be very careful when you are doing these blizzards here that that all the mobs are being hit by the blizzard. So when you jump on this ledge, your position doesn't really update. So like if you go up to here, you might still be on the bottom. The mobs might still think you're on the bottom. See, they're not coming. Oh, they are coming. So a lot of times when you like go onto an exploity ledge, your position is still where it once was. So just make sure that you like wiggle on top and you run all the way down. And the reason why I run all the way down and make sure I hug this wall is that I want to be able to make sure that blizzard can hit the mobs. Sometimes if you don't do that and you're walking willy-nilly all along this ledge, the mobs can't be hit by your blizzard even though you blizzard like normal, and they can run through and murder you. So just be careful on that. So speaking of this ledge, now that I have enough time without the mobs behind me, if you're a gnome, all you need to do is jump towards the right of it, wedge yourself, and then just literally mash forward and space, and then you'll pop up. It's a really, really easy jump if you're a gnome. If you are not a gnome, you have to do the hard version of the jump, where you angle yourself to the left like this, and you have to just wedge yourself perfectly in this little hole corner here. It's incredibly difficult. Other people have been complaining a lot as other races. It is doable, believe me. It's just so much harder. I can't even get it. Let me pop back up before I get murdered by mobs. Look how easy it is as a gnome. It's ridiculously easy as a gnome. Yeah, that's kind of the angle you have to go for. I wish I could have done it for you guys, but it's really rough. So we'll just continue on with the pull. So we'll just do one last blizzard grouping here, just to make sure the mobs are all close up and ready for the next section. And the reason why we group up and do this on the ledge is none of these mobs, like I said previously, give experience. So we're going to jump over here to this ledge and not mess the jump, please. Cool. And we're going to prime ourselves to run. So this is a reset spot. They're going to all drop combat. We're going to pop a swiftness potion and proxy aggro them with by just running next to them. It kind of looks scary, but it's really not if you just follow the correct route. So 1 second here. As soon as all the mobs turn, combat drops, pop a swiftness and run. And we quickly turn the corner, just run straight, and you're just gonna quickly run around this this little flag there, run through the mobs, blink, and then just get through this left-hand side. I cut a little too early there, but as long as you go on the left-hand side of the tunnel, the mobs will go all the way around. So now I'm just gonna Frost Nova the Boxstrox in the middle, and then it's going to social the rest of the Boxstrox, because the Boxstrox and the Nagas don't social each other. So that was not the cleanest way to get through it, but that just shows you how much leeway you do have. And since I didn't get a really good grouping of them, I'm just going to do a few rank 1 blizzards just to get some distance, make sure they all leave the tunnel, and once they're all in the tunnel, I'm just going to jump across and blink. And basically blink on cooldown. And again, the Boxstrox don't social aggro with the Nagas, so you really only need to run next to like the first 3 Nagas that leave the rock from the ledge spot, and then you can go ahead and just make your quick little turn, blink back into the tunnel, and make sure you blink onto the left side of the tunnel. That way the mobs take a longer route to get to you, which is really nice. And then Boxstrox will be running quicker than the Nagas, just because they are still evaded out. The first 2 bogs or whatever, you're going to just kite them to the middle of the room and do a Frost Nova. And the reason why you do the Frost Nova is there are 2 different packs of Boxstrox that you pull. And when you do pull them, ones will go to the left-hand side of the tunnel, the others will go to the right-hand side of the tunnel. And so just putting them inside the middle of the tunnel will allow you to let them get socialed, and you can continue on without risk of dying. So I kind of glazed over it. I did a rank 1 blizzard once I crossed the water on the lake. And the reason for that was just timing. That lets me know when I need to start running before the mob train gets to me. I kind of glanced over that, but it's just a timing thing that I do. I would highly recommend using that. I think I did a bandage, actually, not even a rank 1 blizzard. But basically, you can do a rank 1 blizzard there or a bandage there, and as soon as it hits the H on channeling, that's when you know you need to go. And then what I like to do is I like to Fire Blast the Ray, Frost Nova that pack, blink past it, and then just take a nice long turn to make sure my blink cooldown comes back up once I'm crossing those Boxstrox later. I actually got Frostbolted there, and I don't have the Escape Artist on my bars, but we're fine. We're fine. Make sure Escape Artist is on your bars if you're a gnome, but you basically get them grouped up. Once they're too close, you pop on this ledge, blink, and block, and they all run past you. I kind of glanced over a lot of the things that happened there because it just happened in quick succession, so I'll try to recap that as best as I can. So when you get to the bridge after crossing the water, you bandage yourself and you do a rank 1 blizzard. You get to this H on channeling, or the C if you're feeling risky, and then you just go ahead and start running. I Fire Blast, rank 1 the Ray, Frost Nova the entire pack of 5, blink past it, and then do a nice long turn around, and just to buy some time for my blink cooldown to come back up when I'm crossing the Boxstrox. Now you might have a pat there. I was lucky this run, but you might have a pat of 3 of Nagas, and in order to get past those, what you would do is you would pop Cold Snap, and then you would Frost Nova them, and then just go on with your life because you Frost Nova the pack next to the water. So in a more reliable world, you'll see that pat more often than not. You'll blink past that pack that you Frost Nova. You'll still do the long run around, You'll Cold Snap, you'll Frost Nova the Nagas, and then you'll blink past the box shocks as normal, and then do the rest of the pull as pretty much as normal as the other 3-pull method. You pull the box shocks while going past it, you Frost Nova the Defender, and then you just group them in the tunnel. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to pull the boss just to show you what you do, because sometimes, even though you can have literally all the mobs run through him and he won't aggro, sometimes he does aggro. I have no idea why, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull the boss, and then you can see what you're supposed to do when the boss is pulled. The boss is pulled. Panic. Don't panic. So the boss is pulled. Just chill on the ledge. He's going to follow along with the mobs, and we're just going to go along with the pull as per normal. So it kind of does suck if you pull the boss. I really don't recommend you ever intentionally pull the boss like I just did. But if it does happen, don't panic. It's really not hard to manipulate him to do the pull finally. It just waits about 5 minutes. So you're just going to wait for all the mobs to get on the second half. Jump off the ledge, blink over to the left. We're going to run all the way over here. Get ourselves a nice rank 1 Blizzard just to go ahead and pull that. Run back. I'm going to re-barrier because I don't know when I barriered. You're going to rank 1 Frost. Rank 1 Blizzard the far pack. Counterspell it once you're far enough distance away. Sometimes they social, sometimes they don't, so I always manually pull with Frost with Counterspell now. Rank 1 Blizzard that pack, and then blink into the tunnel, and then just very slowly and very carefully just do a few rank 1 Blizzard kites just so you don't get overwhelmed, and make your way over to the ledge jump. If you're in another race, good luck, because that's a lot of mobs, and if you miss that jump, it's kind of scary. My apologies there. So now that we've got all the mobs pulled into the pool, we're going to go ahead and manipulate the boss so that he is the last person on the train. And in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and jump off here, re-barrier, and we're going to go ahead and Blizzard this corner and just wait. So what this is going to do is it's going to make all the mobs slowed. And when the mobs are slowed, you can't slow the boss. And so the boss will then be closest to you, and then it will start casting, hopefully. Nope, it didn't. That's fine. I should mark him and keep him targeted. So usually what he does is he casts Lightning Bolt as you're jumping on this ledge, and that lets the mobs get some distance. So now he's in a very awkward spot. He's towards the middle of the pack. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to do a different Blizzard, just because that Blizzard was didn't really give me enough time. So we're just going to go ahead and jump over here. And now I'm going to Blizzard like this, where I'm in line of sight, but I can still hit the train that's coming towards me. I probably should not have used my blink, but that's okay. And then now everything that's in the back is slowed, and that lets me run away. And now you see Menu is the farthest mob back. I'm just going to go ahead and toss a few slows because he's not running that quick. Unfortunately, he lightning bolted very late. And just make sure that you update there. I'm just going to try to manipulate him. No. This is awkward. This is not going nearly as well. Just be as it should. But we're going to keep it up. You know, not all pulls, unfortunately, are the same. Not everything can go as, as planned. And that's just staying flexible. And like, there's so many places that you can wait on this pull that you can just stay safe and do your best and just avoid dying is like the biggest thing about this pull, is just make sure you don't die. So I'm just going to go ahead and just slow everything that's crossing, stay a little ahead so the boss, and I'm going to try to blink here and then force him to walk as close as possible, and then I'll pop up and hopefully he lightning bolts me. Lightning bolt me, lightning bolt me. I'm in line of sight, brother. No. There he goes. So now we finally got the lightning bolt and he's separated from the mobs. We finally did it. It took like 3 tries, but you know, unfortunately, if the boss is pulled, you have to take the time. So finally, we've pulled all the mobs. We've manipulated the boss. We can proceed into gathering the mobs. And once we gather the mobs, we have to manipulate the boss away from the mobs, and then we can go for a kill. So it's a little convoluted if the boss is ever pulled. I recommend never, just praying to never pull the boss. I stress this. Do not pull the boss. If you can... I should probably put on mage armor. That would help. Yeah, make sure you put on mage armor. So we'll go over here. I have a little visual cue here with based on this dot and this little slanted ledge, and I'll just pop down until they go back and forth. So now they're back and forth, and I can just tap W, tap S, and we'll do a blizzard just to put the mobs down. And just like that other ledge, I go all the way to the left and all the way to the right, just because sometimes your pathing doesn't update properly. And what that allows you to do is, that was kind of scary, make sure that your blizzard will always hit them. So since half the mobs did not follow the pack correctly, I'm actually going to adjust my angle slightly to the right. That way I don't have to worry about double tapping S and falling off the ledge. And then in the gathering phase, just hit rank 1 blizzard on like the front half of the mobs, and once like all of them have been blizzarded, let them stop your blizzard, because they'll still be slowed for about 4 seconds, and just let these non-slowed mobs catch up. It's kind of the same way we manipulated the boss, and that lets you really gather them quite quickly, so you don't have to waste time. And then this should be the last gather phase that we need to really do, depending on if this enchantress casts or not. It's casting, so we're probably gonna have to do one more. I'm just gonna tank the boss here, just one hit for the boss. And he actually ran away too quick, but that's fine, that's perfect. So now everything is blizzarded slowed. So now the boss is now further ahead than all the mobs, and since he can't be slowed, we can blizzard these mobs here. Just get a few ticks of blizzard, and then once everything's slowed, pop down and then do a full channel blizzard, and he's just gonna constantly get farther and farther and farther away from the mobs, and that is definitely a good thing. And we basically want his little marker to go as far away as possible to where it's basically disappearing from you. That's the range that we do. So it's cumbersome, it wastes time, you have to really bounce and really like manipulate him in order to finish the pull if you do pull him, but don't panic if you do. All it does is waste time, and you can just you know, chill, drink some water. Honestly, you can probably watch some videos at the same time and just like browse the internet, because you're really doing nothing once you're on this ledge and manipulating the boss. Just relax, put your feet up. But you see the mark is getting further and further and further away. Also, just be careful. That's awkward. That's fine. So I'm just going to get them slowed, counterspell it, and then reslow them. Once mobs start hitting this pillar, you should probably cancel your blizzard just so you don't spread the mobs too badly. That was a mistake I literally just did. Because these pillars are LOS, so while they're going through it, your blizzards can actually miss the tick. So you don't want to keep the back half of your mob slowed, and then the front half is not slowed, and then you basically create a split. So now you see how the mark is so far away, and it should disappear right there. Perfect. So the mark disappeared. We're going to go ahead and put on our Blade of Eternal Darkness and just begin the kill phase. So we're just going to do a quick little blizzard grouping. The Ray, I'm glad I dodged that. Ray really wanted to hurt me. It's fine, don't panic. And then just re-blizzard grouping. And now once everything's grouped, we're going to pop down and then cast our Flame Strike. And then I like to do a rank 1 blizzard right behind it for 1 tick, pop back up, and then do 4 ticks of rank 1 blizzard. And then you pop down, Flame Strike, rinse, repeat. So you do 1 tick of blizzard there just so that they're slowed and they stay in your Flame Strike dot. You do 4 ticks of blizzard, pop down, and just rinse, repeat. And so this is the rotation that you do. And as you can see, I've been casting max rank Flame Strike this entire time. And my mana has not gone down at all. You saw that, like the purple 11 right there? That's 1100 mana back. Oops. I wasn't properly paying attention to the bounce. So even though your angle might be right and your position might be right, there's variance with how much you tap S or how much you tap W, unless you have like a macro or something. But there's variance, so sometimes the mobs won't behave. Sometimes you might have to tap S twice. Sometimes you might have to tap W twice in order to manipulate them. Don't panic. Just visually verify like which way they're going and then cast your spells. If it takes just slightly longer but you stay safe, that's the name of the game. It's all about consistency with big pulls like this. So that being said, if you do fall off the ledge, I want to show you what you can do. Whoa, I had to do 3 S's there. You see? That's crazy. So if you do fall off the ledge, so say you're a little eager on your S tap, right? If you ever fall off the ledge, oh no, I fell off, immediately blink to the right. Because as you can see there, I'm getting pelted by mobs. If you like, that's great. As soon as you fall, you're in line of sight. So you can block actually, or immediately blink to the right. I like to save block in case things are like really dicey. And then once you go back up, you just wait for your blink cooldown. You blink over, you get your angle back, you find your visual cue, you get your position back. And I don't actually try to find the bounce spot immediately. Once I'm around a little low on it, I just make sure to retag all the mobs, because there's a like 30 to 40 second window where if you don't damage mobs, you get experience based off their new current health. So I like to retag them all, then find the bounce spot. If you fall again, it doesn't matter. You've already retagged them. You don't have to panic. And then now you can go ahead and proceed to regroup them and then blow them up. So the boss actually got quite close to me because I fell off the ledge. So you might have to do a little manipulation on the mobs. So actually, I'll do a different rotation just so the boss would stop coming towards me. So I'm going to Flame Strike. I'm going to Blizzard for like 2 ticks. Pop forward. Blizzard for like 2 ticks. And then pop down. So it's a little less damage efficient this way because the mobs don't get the nice slow. And that time I actually... didn't do it right, and they're really close to the pillar, so I'm just gonna let them go here just so I can get them a little more in between the pillar because I'm missing my blizzard ticks. So we'll go ahead and regroup them. Perfect. Get our flame strike, and then we'll just go for like 2-3 ticks, pop up, go for like 2-3 ticks, and then pop down. So that's not sustainable because, like, as you just saw with the pillar and like the way it's moving, but that lets the boss gain some distance, so you can adjust, and that way you can still do a bit of damage while he's being manipulated. So I'll do 2 ticks there, I'll pop back up, I'll probably do just 1 tick, 2 tick there, and then pop back down, and then I'll let it go because I missed my flame strike cast time. Yeah, you see I only got 7 hits of that flame strike even though they're all grouped up. But I think he's further back now, so I can go ahead and proceed with the way that you're supposed to do it. So you flame strike, 1 tick of blizzard, pop up, 3 ticks of blizzard, or 4 ticks, depending on how the mob pack looks, and then pop back down. And at this point, it's just rinse repeat. Like, they have a lot of HP. AoE cap hurts your blizzard damage. If you really wanted to pump, you can pop Icy Veins and like mana dump with max rank blizzards on top of your flame strikes. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So what you would do is you would still batch your rank 1 blizzard, and then once they're in your flame strike, pop up Icy Veins and then max rank blizzard. And it does add a little bit more DPS, and then you pop down, get your flame strike. Probably since you have Icy Veins up, you do 2 ticks and then max rank blizzard, because the haste affects your blizzard tick rate. And now they're getting a little too close for me, so I'm just going to waste the rest of my Icy Veins and then just go back to the normal kill method, and just want to keep them in my flame strike as much as possible. So even with dumping with max rank blizzards, I'm still at like 40% mana. I haven't evocated, I haven't used the mana gem, I haven't used mana pots, and that's just the strength of Master of Elements and Blade of Eternal Darkness. Like, once you get onto the ledge and start blasting on the mobs, you don't have to worry about mana at all. If you ever did need to evocate, it's just pretty simple. You don't have to fall off the ledge or anything. What I like to do is I like to manipulate them into the flame strike, get like 2 ticks of blizzard, and then back up. Ooh, they're still coming. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and evocate while they're running away. And then once my evocate's done, you just pop back up and then continue on with the kill as normal. And I'm actually gonna adjust my angle to the right again because that was scary. And then it's just rinse repeat. Like, you can make this faster with unused trinkets. You can make this faster by like always casting max rank blizzards and chugging pots and mana gems. But pots are kind of expensive, even though you can make a lot of gold boosting here. Oh, I fell off the ledge. Blink to the right. That's awkward. But yeah, if you're off the ledge, don't panic. Blink to the right. Wait on your blink cooldown, and then just make sure to retag them up so you don't lose experience. No big deal. Like, so many things can go wrong, but you're pretty much always safe once you get to certain spots. So don't ever panic. Then we'll just go back here, and then I'm not going to go off the ledge yet. I'm just going to go ahead and retag the mobs. Yep. Perfect. And now they all give experience again. Or you update them so that you don't lose experience, I should say. And then at lower HPs, since the mobs live slower, you can change the way that you're blizzarding just to keep them in the flame strike range. You can like do 2-3 ticks going forward, 3 ticks back. Basically just find the rhythm that works for the way that you blizzard, just to make sure that they stay in your flame strike for max damage. And that's like the best way to do this. And then just if you have like a scrolling combat text or a hit tracker of how many mobs that you're hitting, just make sure to look at how many mobs that your flame strike is starting to hit. Because once you start hitting maybe like 30 to 35 mobs alive is when you should probably start just doing max rank blizzards for damage efficiency per mana. Because once the mobs start dying, your Blade of Eternal Darkness is giving you less mana back. So you're actually no longer like net sustained on your mana. If you don't have a hit tracker add-on, you can just look at the damage of your rank 1 blizzard, right? Like you're going to notice that your rank 1 blizzard is going to start doing more and more damage, and then once it hits to like that 15 per tick, 16 per tick depending on your spell damage, then you can start just blasting with max rank blizzards, and you'll see that AoE cap is not hurting you nearly as bad. So now we're in that 12 territory, 13, 14 territory. I'll probably go for the 17 territory in order to know. I'm not going to look at my hit tracker there. So we're at 15, 16, 15 territory. I think one more flame strike here. Perfect. And now I'm going to go ahead and put on my spirit stack, Icy Veins, and then max rank blizzard. And you can see that my blizzard is ticking for way more than flame strike is. I think flame strike ticks for like 110 to 120 depending on your spell power. So once the mobs are basically whittled down, then you can just go back to blizzarding, and then AoE cap is not a problem. Perfect. Almost done. And we're done. So because we pulled the boss, I like to do logout resets because we didn't kill everything on that side of the instance, so running through them can be a pain and kind of dangerous. So if you do pull the boss and you want to reset combat, you can go over here, just get here, but don't jump all the way up. Once you're at this spot, you're going to do a jump, tap W, and immediately block, like that. And the reason why you do that is whenever you hit an evade spot with the boss pulled, it will teleport you on top of him. So what you can do is you can block. That makes you immune to the teleport, and once he tries to teleport you once, he won't do it again until you fall off and then re-jump to an evade spot. So now combat dropped. So if I hit log out and then check here, we did 98 mobs. It took 37 minutes, but you know, I was explaining stuff inside the instance. We pulled the boss intentionally. If you're doing this consistently, you're probably looking about 19-20 minutes per run. If you don't pull a boss. If you pull a boss, if you're really good at manipulating him, add about 5 to 6 minutes per your run. If you're not good at manipulating him, it's your first time, probably add 10 minutes per your run. But yeah, that's how you do a 98 pull in Slave Pens as early as level 66. Gear requirement, very non-existent. Just make sure you get Blade of Eternal Darkness. And just to like hammer home how crazy Blade of Eternal Darkness and Master of Elements is, I'm going to go to Mana Restored. Blade of Eternal Darkness gave me back 29.4k mana, and Master of Elements gave me back 12.4k mana. And then you can just compare like what my Evocate gave me compared to them, right? Like those talents just allow you to pump damage into the mobs without worry of mana. So have fun. Like it's a really fun pull. I hope you guys learned something with this guide. It's a little more in depth than the last guide. I kind of rambled and I kind of tried to explain things as I went rather than recording and then talking over. So hopefully you appreciate. Hopefully this works for you guys. And I'll probably have more content out soon. Thank you.